So today, this Yamaha V Star 1100 Classic is going Darkside. I don't know if you know what Darkside is. I sure didn't until about a year ago when I started researching it. I've joined some forums and Facebook and did a lot of research over the past year about going Darkside. I am comfortable with the idea and I am going to do it. So, this is the second V Star 1100 I've owned, or first one. I bought a wrecked one that I've used to piece together this bike, switched out the motor and a couple other things. This is a 2001 and I have these super annoying nasty spoked rims. I hate them so much. They're so hard to clean, maintain. They are for some people, but they are not my style, not my cup of tea. I don't like them. They are ugly. So what I'm doing is from the other bike that I had, I tore it apart, used what I wanted, and I've had the cast rims from those sitting around. I'm gonna go Darkside with those rims. Maybe eventually double dark, but for now just dark in the back. So I'm going to be using this cast rim. I also have the rim for the front side, and this is my tire of choice. This tire comes highly recommended from other people with a similar bike that have done the same thing. This is the General Ultimax RT43. The size is 195/65/15, and it's a bi-directional tire. Not that that really matters, except the shop didn't have to pay attention when they threw it on the rim. Something else to be said with this tire, the previous tire, for some reason they had a hard time balancing. They had a crap ton of weights on this thing. With the motorcycle tire installed, I called up the shop and he recommended doing Dynabeads or the Ride On or whatever it's called. I went with the Dynabead option, so you can hear them in there. I don't know if you can hear that. But the beads are in there. They're supposed to automatically balance the tire every time you take off. All right, before we drain, or before we take this tire off, we're gonna go ahead and drain the final dry fluid. Is to go ahead and just take the whole entire assembly off. That is what I am going to do. Okay, I got this baby pair of channel locks. I'm gonna put a rag over the comb. It should just be pressured on. There we go, sure enough. With this V Star, the fender, the Classic, the fender comes down so far that we're gonna have to jack the bike up like 18 feet just to get the tire off, but we'll worry about that later. We have it on the stand already, so we can just jack it up. Let's start with the brake side. Okay, so for this, looks like we've got these two bolts right here are 12 millimeters. This is a 14. We are gonna go ahead and take these off right here first. Okay, there's also a little tiny bolt down here for the brake line. Probably make it easier to get things off if you take that off. It's a little tiny bolt, just like so. There it goes. Okay, so I'm just gonna take this rag on top of the pipes, keep everything protected. I'm gonna take a zip tie to keep it from moving on us as we're jostling things around. Doesn't really matter what you zip tie it to, whatever, just something. Now it's not gonna go anywhere, so it's good right there. So now we're going to take off this bolt up here. Add that to magnetic tray so that you only lose it when you kick the tray. Okay, now when we're ready, we're also going to take these two bolts off. These are just holding everything in place, but we're going to go do the other side first. Okay, and these are 14 millimeters right here. Okay, these bad boys are going to be a 12 millimeter socket. If you want to, you can leave this little bolt on here, nut, or you can just go ahead and take it off. We're going to go ahead and just take it off. Okay, put those where you're not going to lose them. Now, we are going to jack the bike up. So right now it's free. Boop. We just got to clear the stupid low down fender, so let's jack her up. I can go inside, and as long as she's not looking, you can take your wife's toothbrush, or your husband's, whatever the case might be. Just gonna clean it out the best you can. Drop this in. We are going to coat all the splines with this same moly. I'll do the inside ones. We gotta put this back together, which is always so much fun. Even starting off bad. Okay, I'm just gonna try and line it up the best as you can. I'm just gonna figure out where it fits. You can't really see what you're doing, so you're just shooting it up. There it goes. Okay, so now that that's back on, you can put your axle back in, and then we can do the exciting part and get it back on the bike. Yeah! Alright, so for the axle, we are just using the exact same grease we used on the bearing. Okay, so now we're going to lube the splines on the shaft. Good. Okay. Once you kind of get it sort of balanced, you're going to have to reach up in here, guide your shaft in to the hole. Good guy. That's all I'm gonna say, actually. Just gonna shut my mouth right there. Okay. There we go. hope you were able to see that. That just slid all the way in. So now that you saw that side, let's move to the other side. The thing I forgot about is this brake bracket right here where the caliper sits. You have to shove that in just as straight as the shaft. Ooh, without doing that. So we gotta pull this thing back out a little bit. Or all the way. Looks like all the way. Got it. A little wiggle action, and by golly, I think we're back in business. But for anybody that was wondering, yes, that was a pain in the butt. So now we're going to grab this bracket right here to hold it in place. Grab your nuts, don't care which ones, as long as they fit, it should be good. Little refresher, this is the 12mm. We just did a brake job on this, so if you're wondering and you're like, well, I have the tire off, I'd like to do the brakes, that is a very smart decision because you do have more room. We did do the brakes while we were here. I put it in a different video. It's already posted. I believe I labeled it Yamaha V Star 1100 brakes or something to that effect. So Google it, do it before you get all this put together. YouTube it. Don't forget to subscribe while you're there and thumbs up. I like thumbs up. Your brake pads, or your brake caliper, sorry. We're going to go back in just like it came out. So you're going to put your 12mm bolts back in. There's one. There's two. And you have your 17 that goes way up on top here. Essentially what we're going to do is we put the retainer on the axle nut on the far side. And then the screws are loose, but they're in. And then we are going to put all 4 of these at 65 foot-pounds. The axle nut right here is going to be 77 foot-pounds. And then the retainer on the other side is going to be 17 foot-pounds. The caliper is going to be 29 foot-pounds. And the 2 12mm caliper bolts are going to be 29 foot-pounds as well. And we shouldn't have to adjust the tire at that point because the shaft and everything should be right in line. So let's do that, starting with the 4 bolts holding the final drive up, and those, like we said, are going to be 65 foot-pounds. Okay, so we got all those at 65 foot-pounds. The left axle nut is going to be 77 foot-pounds. That's going to be your 22mm. That's 77 for that. Now we're going to go to the opposite side. We're going to do the retainer nuts to 17 foot-pounds. Okay, so now we have our caliper on. We have our 14mm bolt on that's essentially just holding the bracket for the caliper. We have our retainer nuts tightened for the axle on the right hand side. And we are good to go minus filling up the final drive. You did not have to empty it to do this job. I did just to save mess and everything. So I just drained it out of the drain plug, filled it up with the fill plug. I have a video on that as well that will be posted and linked in the description below. Check it out. It's a pretty short video, unlike my other ones, which all seem to end up super long for whatever reason. I don't know how to make a shorter video. I'm trying to make sure you guys have every step, which means I end up making a longer video, but at least if you have questions, I have the answers. So other than that, that's the bike. That's Darkside. That's the tire. It looks sweet. Yeah, there it is. If you liked what you saw, give me a thumbs up. If you want to see more, subscribe in this little teensy weensy button way down here in this bottom right corner. Very hard to see, it's small, but hit it anyway. Consider it a challenge. I challenge you to hit that button. Yeah, that's my bike. I'm looking forward to many, 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 many more miles on it. Thanks, guys. Bye.